Welcome to the Designated Drinker Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I'm your host, Louise Slyvester, and with me, as always, is my very, very talented friend who has caused me to lose my balance more than once, the mixtress, DC Gina.
Hi, Louise. How are you?
Hi, Gina. I'm good. Where are you at?
I'm in the forever closed last call, hoping one day that we'll reopen. There'll be people in here with me. But for now, I call it my very large podcast studio.
And you're podcasting alone. I mean, our loyal listeners know we used to set up shop and spend our day together.
And I spent cocktails for everybody. I know. Yep. It'll happen someday.
Yeah, it will. We will get through this too. And until then, we'll just keep drinking.
Yes.
Exactly.
As many things as you like. Yes.
Absolutely. So Gina, I have a quiz for you, but it is a quiz of one question, a singular question, I promise. Do you know what a funambulist is?
No.
It's really simple. It is a tightrope walker.
Oh.
Funambulist. So one of the most famous funambulists is Charles Blondin. On June 30th of 1859, dressed in his hot pink tights and his yellow tunic, no less, he became the first man to tightrope walk across Niagara Falls. At 160 feet above the gorge and with about thousands of people watching, this daredevil walked across an 1,100-foot long cable with just a simple balance, the balance pole that they carried, and there's absolutely no other safety mechanisms or gear whatsoever other than that balance pole, and obviously his very large cojones apparently. So he apparently he had steep climbs on both sides. So I guess the ropes kind of were a steep climb on the going in and going out. And in the center of it, it actually sagged. So he walks across this, apparently with no trouble whatsoever. And he was absolutely had no doubt in his sense of balance, because he even asked for a volunteer that he would put on his back to do it. And obviously no takers. Imagine that. So surprising. He went on to perform this multiple times. It wasn't just a one-time thing for him. And every time he would up the ante. He did things like he did it blindfolded. He walked backwards. He pushed a wheelbarrow across, apparently. Not sure why he did that, but he did. And then this is really crazy. He carried a stove on his back, a stove with cooking utensils in the whole nine, went across, got to the center, made an omelet, and lowered it down to some passengers on a boat that were waiting below to enjoy their omelet. Yes. And here's my favorite one. That's pretty fucking crazy, but here's wow, the F-bomb already. Here's one that really gets it's close to my heart. He actually got to the center, sat down, ate a piece of cake, and washed it down with a glass of champagne. Yeah.
How did he die?
He did die falling from not on Niagara Falls, but another one of his other daredevil stunts across the rope. But he was pretty old. He lived into his 70s, I believe. So a long life.
That's crazy.
Walking across a lot of tight ropes. So who knew?
It's crazy.
So it does bring me to today's designated drinker, though, because she is someone who truly understands the value of finding balance.
Okay. I was like, what does funambulance have to do with colonics?
So let's get her on the show, shall we? She is the holistic health nurse of Hullistic Health, Meghan Slyvester. Welcome to the show. See, it's all about balance. She jumped into the colonics. I was just going with balance.
I get it. I had no idea where you were going with that.
It's kind of the way I like it.
What was that?
A new hobby, and I was like, that's insanity.
Yeah.
She does it. She does funambulism while giving you a colonic. It makes it all kinds of fun.
Funambulante.
It's a new word for your vocabulary. We'll just keep making up new words.
I have so many questions about him.
Yeah, that's about all I know, though. So tell us, we have more questions. What what is a holistic health nurse? What do you do? What's up in your alley?
So, in regards to my practice, so I mean, holistic kind of the approach to health and healing is taking in like the body as a whole and doing kind of more of like a look at systems approach and pulling everything together in regards to sometimes just kind of cherry picking certain symptoms that we have and trying to just address that one thing. Holistically speaking, like somebody would come in as a client and we just start by sitting down and chatting and getting to know one another and certain balances and imbalances. So that's the beauty of nature, is that we're always kind of ebbing and flowing. And I kind of take a seasonal approach to our diet and lifestyle, especially living in New England, because we do kind of get these, you know, chances throughout the year to connect with nature. That's kind of one of it, you know, just kind of making sure that we're in tune to the changes that are going on and sometimes the change of the season. We're a little bit more apt to sometimes fall ill. So we definitely know like spring and fall are kind of like our cold and flu seasons, you know, and usually it's just sometimes that we haven't kind of been prepared for that shift or change from season to season.
Oh, interesting.
Well, that's my thought anyway. That's my take on it.
Yeah. And I'm sticking to it, damn it.
Well, with that, you can encompass so much. So my background in nursing helps. I also have a yoga teacher training behind me. So I use a lot of movement and breath work. And then obviously a little bit of a food piece as far as kind of, you know, healthy nutrition and healing from the inside out. And always kind of finding a balance with that too, because every now and again, we just have to have fun and eat pizza and cake too.
Absolutely. And walk on a tightrope. So you and Gina go, yeah, exactly. You and Gina go way back though.
So Gina, shall I tell them how we met? The summer?
I mean,
the summer of 98. How great was the summer of 98?
Well, that sounds great. That sounds like a song.
Cato Caitlin project. Go ahead, please.
Wait,
Gina?
I have to know what that means. Tell me, what do you mean you were the Cato Caitlin? I don't understand.
Cato,
So
that was it? God.
He was the house guest who never left, of course. Cato Caitlin. Gina was actually a summer sublet. Well, actually, she was a dear, long childhood friend of a dear friend of both of ours, Kathleen. So we all knew Gina, but Gina came for the summer that Mara and I took off to celebrate our senior year that we didn't quite finish, but we intended on finishing it at some point.
Nice.
So, yeah. So we felt like we were deserving of a European vacation. So we took off, and Gina was going to sublet her room for the summer. And when we came back, Jeannie just burrowed right in and enrolled herself in master's classes at the University of Maryland.
Yes, I took a summer class. I was only taking a summer class in art because I didn't want to like graduate.
I
graduated and I was super pissed. And I was like, well, I'm just going to get another master's.
Oh, that's right. You went home and came back. That's right. Yeah.
I was like, I just not, you can't just graduate with one degree anymore. You must have multiple degrees.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah. And I was like, Gina, I can't even do one.
And then I lived in the front room of this house on the hill with two other girls in a twin bed. So there were three girls in the front room. And then Meghan lived in the tree house at Kathleen.
We called it the Florida room. It was our 3-season enclosed porch that as long as you had a couple of down comforters, you were snug as a bug in a rug back there all year long.
It was literally snow in there.
Oh, and it overlooked a public school. So like you got woken up with birds. Cheap.
All right,
wait a minute, it snowed in there?
Yeah. I mean, one of the windows.
Well, it wasn't so tight, if you know what I mean. Yeah. It was a 3-season porch. I was using the term loosely. Maybe 2.
It was the cheapest rent I ever had in my entire life. And like, honestly, the landlord.
In a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah. If the landlord
but the structure itself wasn't so sound. Yeah. That's why we got the deal.
Yeah. I would have lived there forever. I would have been like, fine, I'll pay $200 to live in Capitol Hill for the rest of my life.
I used to feel so bad for the woman next door that we used to terrorize with all of our parties, but then I found out she was a lobbyist for the pharmaceutical companies, and I don't care anymore. I'm glad we kept her up. I'm so glad we kept her up. Susan, I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. All right, so back to Meghan. Let's go back to Meghan.
Yes,
Let's go back to memory lane, and like people are listening to this, like, well, what does she actually do?
Yeah.
So Meghan has been, 100% like always using us. Like I feel like she was destined to do this job because she literally would always use all of us as her scapegoats. And this is like 20 years ago when nobody was doing these kind of things. So if you ever had like, a sniffle or something, she'd be like dunking your head in a hot pot full of eucalyptus and some sort of oil. And you're like, I don't feel any better. And snot's running down your face. Like, oh, you will. You'll feel better.
Give the shits for a couple days and anything will clear.
Yeah.
Anything. Anything.
And then you're like, you just came home from work or school, and Meghan will come home and she has these giant cone things. And she's like, I'm going to light these on fire and stick them in your ear for candling, getting the wax out.
It prevents dementia.
I'm like, not going to happen. And she's like, it's happening right now. And it's like, she was destined for her job. And when she went back to Massachusetts, she said, we're gonna go to nursing school. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to really become nurse and just kill us.
You're not getting your pain meds. You're getting willow bark, and you're going to like it. I got in trouble is what I got.
so I guess like now, Meghan, tell us what it is you do. Someone walks in, what do you do? Like I walk in, how do you fix it?
So usually people find me if they usually have like a reoccurring, or what we kind of consider something chronic going on, that they're kind of have, usually gone to either their general practitioner, or maybe they've seen like a specialist or two, and maybe they've addressed the symptom, but they're not really necessarily feeling better, So that's usually sometimes where I find people. And I would say probably, like 30% of my business are male, but the majority of my clientele are female. And what's cool about the practice that I do is you can use it on any end of the spectrum, so you could have an active issue that you would like to address, or you could be working on prevention. So everything that I kind of do and offer, depending upon the severity of kind of what somebody would like to address and how long it's been happening, and, different things that we sometimes have to peel back to figure out, well, when really did this start happening, and maybe sometimes something else happened, but, there's a symptom of the initial, trauma or injury that becomes bothersome. So I try and address things that are bothersome to people, because then that makes them feel like, oh my God, she healed me. It's like, no, I didn't. You did it. No, I didn't. That happens constantly. Like, what did you do? Nothing, I swear. I'm just merely a facilitator. But essentially, so I have a little, few things that I pull from things that I've just seen over the years that have worked. I worked under a naturopath in Brookline, in Boston, which would be considered like a place that's like at the end of Longwood Avenue, like massive hospitals are all right there. And she just kind of sat there and had like a really cool, like European, like herbal apothecary vibe. And she did a lot of her own mixing, and she hired me as a colon hydrotherapist, which of course I was like, oh, I'm just here for the intern position. And she was like, oh no, I need a colon hydrotherapist and you're going to do it. And I was like, nah, I don't know. But I truly understood the connection, from my background in nursing. And also, Gina, remember when you used to make fun of me when I used to go to that yoga studio on Capitol Hill? All of my friends, nobody in the joint was under 65. It was all like very, the hippiest, trippiest yoga I've still ever experienced to this day was happening on Capitol Hill. I think it's still there. It was like the longest running yoga studio in DC.
It's still there.
And they used to goof on me. They're like, oh, what are you going to do? Go hang out with Herb today from yoga. Like, actually, he's making me a vegan lunch in the park.
But look what it did. It's kind of amazing. Like, I wish that, like, I don't know, that we paid more attention to what you were doing, because honestly.
You did, Jean. It rubbed off.
I didn't. I mean, I was laughing. I hated what you did to us, like, to figure out how to do these things. But, like, But like, honestly, it's kind of amazing, I think. Like, I don't know, Louise, like, don't you think it'd be awesome to like just go and balance yourself out by basically taking, I don't know, I don't even know, like, what do you even give people? Like, I know you have these.
That was gonna be my question. Like, if you just came in and you're like, to your point, like just
define cleanse.
Yeah, and so
right, because there's so many ways to purify or cleanse or detoxify. Right, it's kind of like an overused kind of buzzword at the moment, you know. So like I kind of chatted about it, and originally is kind of meeting people where they're at. Not everybody can handle a full-on detox, you know, so sometimes we'll use herbs to facilitate, you know, sometimes increase circulation, and, you know, certain herbs that stimulate certain organs that kind of help, mainly kind of the liver, the gallbladder, the gut, the skin, the lungs, the kidneys, anything that eliminates. So I try and pay attention to just all the eliminative organs. And what I do is see like where somebody has an imbalance of maybe a pathway where things can't get out of the body. So that's where the word toxin comes from. I mean, it's not something that's man-made. It's just something like, you know, usually like metabolic waste, you know, that kind of accumulates in tissue, you know. So sometimes if we have inflammation, then these toxins will then, you know, kind of hang out in the damaged tissue. Or if we have these pathways that are sometimes, you know, blocked.
Is that thing that you do with the Chinese foot bath, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I try and keep everything very practical and simple, you know what I mean? So soaking the feet is so simple. I mean, we have so many nerve endings in the soles of the feet. We have thousands of pores in the feet. So a lot of traditional Chinese medicine doctors will always soak feet. A lot of naturopathic doctors will also soak the feet. And there's kind of like a yin and a yang. One absorbs, one releases. I mean, it's just, you know, we're energetic, you know, so the feet have a good kind of uptake and a release. So it's a good way to, you know, kind of, you can use Epsom salt, a little bit of essential oils, or you can actually put herbs in the bath. And that's what I do. I use herbs. I don't use those funky ionizers, which they work. There's, you know, science behind that. I just don't use them.
When you put someone's feet in the bath, does it turn that crazy color? Like you
No, that's what I'm talking about. I know. I couldn't figure that out. I bought a bunch of them and I kept getting the same color. I was like, I can't sell this. I have to sell things that are like meaningful to me. It's not to say that that doesn't work. It does work, but the color thing, it's like, nah, it reacts to water and metals, but there is a little coil that reacts and it charges the water, but you can naturally charge the water. So I use beautiful copper pots. So the copper pot and they're hand hammered and they're just really sustainably sourced. So they're not leaded or anything. So they're straight copper. And I usually have people soak their feet in there. So there's the charge to it. And then I also add salt to it. So salt will actually charge the water with electrolytes. And then, you know, from there I do like an herbal Chinese pack, and I have I have a line and everything's 5 different things, and it all correlates to the organs, the systems, and the glands, all those eliminative organs that I just talked about. And they all correlate to a season. So for instance, like summer is fire. So in traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurveda, fire is the heart, the small intestine. It's a great time to be eating food with people, you know, being overly joyous. We should be out enjoying very cooling things. So everything that's red, tomatoes, cherries, watermelon, all of that has high antioxidants, but they're also very cooling. Greens, your bitter greens like endive. But like watercress, you know, arugula, anything peppery. Peppery is actually a really good combative for heat. You know, we all have heat. But you're, you know, the classic, like, you know, Italian, you cook, you're a giver. You're all about, you know, your small intestine, which is awesome. And it's heart and small intestine. That's how you give love. And I know that, Jean, because you introduced me, this Irish Catholic girl south of Boston, to scungeel. Do you remember that? It's like, what the?
I'm not eating that.
Scungeel. We used to have a Sopranos Sundays. Remember Sopranos was kicking when we lived at 404. I loved Sundays with Jean.
I would love nothing
Hard
more
fast.
than cook a meal like that, but like I'm fascinated by you saying that, right? So like So people are going to listen to this and it's like happens all the time. Do you have to meet the person in your office, or have you ever like consult over the internet?
I can, but I try and see people. That's what I do. That's why I went into nursing. I dig people. I like to chat with them. I mean, part of it is that you need a physical assessment of people. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't drop my nursing skills. If somebody's on the table, I'm taking a peek at their ankles. You know what I mean? Like, so, there are certain signs of like all those elements that are in somebody's body makeup. And it's just whether, we want to shift. And so a lot of it sometimes has to do with what year we're born into, a season, or a lot of times you can just figure out your constitution from like where you feel best. I'm sure you've had friends that are like, oh my God, I love the heat.
I feel best after multiple mezcals.
Pardon?
I feel best after I've had multiple shots of mezcal. Do you think that's okay?
It's tequila, dear, tequila. Yeah. The agave plant, it's a healer. See, all of these things all pharmacology comes from plants.
I don't think you're that far off from what we do in the mixology world.
Of course not, especially the craft cocktail world. An herbal spritz with that, it's a health drink.
Speaking of a health drink, Louise.
Yeah, let's do this.
So,
let's do it. Let me get my dusty bottle of chartreuse. Hang on.
But it's funny that you chose chartreuse, and we'll get to that because, get your stuff.
Do I need ice?
You need ice. So Meghan, Louise, she told us the story about like how she used to like pick a bottle and dust it off and drink it with her mom, and they would just find a cocktail to use up all of this old liquor that was in her mother's house. But what's very interesting about chartreuse is that it's made up of 141 different herbs.
Oh, it is?
Wow.
Yes.
Hang on a minute. I was going to get the bottle. I'm going to listen.
It's made by Christian monks that believe that chartreuse has healing medicinal properties to it and taken in small doses. And a lot of the things that are found in chartreuse, and like nobody knows all the ingredients are, always a secret. But when you smell it and you do herbology and you really are into it, you really get like the first things on it, like, the chamomile, the wormwood, the sage, the different flavors and stuff that are in there. And it's really, really, really pungent. Oh, yeah. And then you're like,
how'd you get that?
You feel instantly better after you drink it. And not because it's like high in alcohol, but it has like this bizarre like feeling, this rush over you. And it definitely has to do with the fact that it was distilled with so many different herbs. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's alcoholic. It's more about all the stuff that's in it. So it's almost cosmic or some bizarre thing.
Why do you say bizarre and look at me?
I know, right? Because you can tell I'm looking right at you. And
all right, I really have to sniff it. So wormwood, I can't believe that. That's a good that's a good like dewormer and the give it to your dog. I know you
really. We're gonna give it to you.
Not the chartreuse.
Not the chartreuse.
We're gonna give it to you now.
Okay.
All right. So this cocktail is very, very simple. I like to sometimes, a lot of people think I do everything super, super complicated, and it's not exactly true. So this cocktail is equal parts of Jameson, chartreuse, and lemon juice. And all you're going to do, so if you're at home and you're like me and you like, a little bit more than less, you're going to do 1.5 ounces of Jameson, 1.5 ounces of chartreuse, 1.5 ounces of lemon. If you are, want to follow the rule of 3, it's 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1 ounce. But it's as long as you have equal parts, you're good to go.
Are we putting this in a shaker or in a glass, Gina?
We are going to put it in a shaker, and I'm going to scroll this down.
Thank you.
You can see what I'm doing. So I have chilled my glass.
Oh, I didn't chill my glass.
My shaker tin. And I have a very, I'm going to step up.
Ice in your jigger?
Not yet.
Okay. Do I need ice for that?
Not yet. What?
Do I need ice for that? I'm going to drink more water.
You will. You need ice for your shaker tin, yes. All right.
Megan's already drinking. How is Megan?
Just the ice water. I was letting my glass chill. Just the ice water. I have to pregame. I'm a nursing mother. I have to pregame.
So you take, all right, so here we go. So we're going to put in there. So we're going to do 1 ounce of Jameson. All right. And if you don't have a jigger, you can use a measuring cup, whatever you have. Pour that into.
I'm not gonna get my top off.
And then, Megan, that's never been a problem for you. And then you're gonna put 1 ounce of chartreuse. We're good. Where's
There we
Megan?
go.
We lost Megan.
There she is.
She's back. All right. Then we are going to take 1 ounce of lemon juice, and I'm going to actually, so you can do it with your hand if you want, Avi, but going to use my little handy press.
Oh, Jean, you'd be impressed. Look at mine. I still have my glasses on.
That's so pretty. That's old. That's so beautiful.
It's old school, girl. It's old
I know. I
school.
love it. I do love that, though. All right. So you put it all in there, and then you're going to take the top of your shaker tin or a cup and a half or so of ice.
So 1 ounce. I have Molly. What's her name? Molly Kilbride over at the beach right now. I'm gonna make 2.
Ew.
She's watching my
Pretty
kids. Yes, another dear friend of ours.
So you're gonna put this inside there, and you're gonna make your cocktail. So I'm
All
going
right.
to just back this up a bit.
No
And
sugar or
we're gonna
anything
take-
in this, huh?
Nope, no sugar. The chartreuse, plenty of sugar, enough sugar in it.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, you don't need anything else. You ready
Yep.
to shake, everybody? Not yet, Megan?
No, sorry. Hang on. All right, I'm just going to use this pour instead. Okay, ready.
All right, let's do it.
Wait. All right.
So when you get this little bit of frost on your shaker tin, you're ready to go. Megan, let's see your shaker tin. Can I see your shaker? Oh, I love it. It's got the jigger on top. That's so funny.
Well, I just did that because I couldn't find the top.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, that is smart. All right, so just
And
start
then
your
make
water.
sure you keep it out so you don't hit yourself in the face. And shake it, make sure.
And then you're going to just strain your cocktail into your glass.
Alrighty. Ooh,
And it doesn't really need a garnish, but if you want to put some little pizzazz on this, you could just take a lemon and just put a little lemon wheel if you want to. If not, nothing's fine too. And there you go.
You all right with the wedge?
Sure. Just a little lemon. Perfect.
Cheers,
You, Megan, have the
ladies.
same. Oh, look at
Yep.
your glasses, Megan.
I know it's beautiful.
They're my
Wow.
This is delicious.
Oh, that is good, Jean. Jean, I never call you Jean. Listen, I've never
Jeannie,
called you
little
that
Jeannie.
ever. And now spending 30
know.
minutes with Megan, I've got a whole new name for you.
I know. Well, I'd rather that name than other names. So
This is delightful.
this drink doesn't really have a name.
Oh, it doesn't.
Nope, because I didn't really like. I just like this combination. So I guess we should name it
Yes.
because I don't know. Maybe I'll call it the Slyvester.
You said the last word. I
No,
thought
the
you
last
were
word
teasing
has gin, maraschino liqueur, and chartreuse and
me.
lemon.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we're gonna call it the Slyvester and just call it that,
what I like about this,
Sylvester.
or the Ellen.
The Ellie Mae.
I know. I love this.
Yeah.
Is that really your mom's first name? No.
No.
Ellen.
I know, but Ellie Mae
No.
Clampett. We used to tease.
I'm sorry.
what I do like about this Gina is like chartreuse for me is one of those harder cocktails. I know all bartenders love it. It's harder for me to get like warm up to it. I'm trying to, and it can be so overpowering
It's delicious.
that it just it for me and what I've had it just feels very heavy-handed. This drink makes it so light and refreshing, and it's really nice. So thank you for introducing me to a cocktail like with something that I'm trying to find a way in to get my palate ready for it, and this is a really nice way to do it. So thanks.
Do you feel healthier?
I do even.
Absolutely. I feel healthier just hanging out with you, Gina. It's probably because we're always drinking.
And laughing.
Absolutely. If laughter is the best medicine, for damn sure.
Yes, I will agree with that. Here.
So, Gina, where are you going to send them? Where are we going to send them to get this recipe?
We're going to send them to designateddrinker.show.
Wait, did you hear that? What did she say?
No, we're going to go to designateddrinker.show.
Absolutely. For all the tips, trips, and how-tos for Gina's cocktail, as well as we're going to definitely get some links out to Meghan for sure.
Oh,
Because
you're so
let me
sweet.
ask you
Thank
this.
you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me ask you this, Meghan. So not everyone lives in the Boston area, yeah.
Massachusetts. I offer
Yep.
seaside retreats as well. There are beautiful B&Bs in my town where people come
Nice.
and they do like juice fasts and like sweats in my sauna and hell, I'm going to say it, a couple of kilometers. I'm just going to say.
There you go.
The things up people's butts. I love it.
And I also do something called lymphatic drainage, which is very healthy, and it's sometimes a nice alternative to any type of surgical work that some people are doing. And fillers, yeah. So it's like cupping, but without all the static holds, so you don't get the bruising that you do. It's just kind of gentle, and I use all different forms of like certain oils and clays with that.
Oh, interesting. So let me ask you this. So like I said, it's great that if we can get to you, but not everyone can, unfortunately, especially these days. What would be one thing, like say I wanted to go and start looking for somebody to work with that's much like you, offers a lot of the same wonderful therapies that you offer. What is the one thing I could do to make sure I'm going to the right person? Does that make sense? That getting me?
Yeah.
Is there something
I think that's anything in life when it comes to healthcare. I would say that would go for a general practitioner as well, like somebody that we pay through the insurance system. Finding somebody that you align yourself with and that you genuinely like what they have to say. And I would probably say the listening factor is like key, because a lot of people that find me, it's like, they've already been kind of pigeonholed into a certain area of kind of diagnosis, and sometimes they feel as if they're not heard. So I think you kind of really know off the bat, like if a practitioner is genuine or not by kind of just their overall sometimes assessment or intake or the introduction, however you want to say it. But like within your initial few appointments, you could probably get a strong feeling, if not within the first few minutes of your first, knowing that like, are they addressing the issues that you've voiced that are of concern to you? Or if not, why aren't they? And are they explaining to you in a reasonable fashion that makes sense as to why they're not? But hopefully, working towards that goal of, what's most bothersome to you and trying to find your piece to the puzzle. Unfortunately, we have a healthcare system that is kind of like one size fits most and it works for them. And it's very businesslike, and the prices are exorbitant, and everything's unregulated, and it's all very kind of pharmacological. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of healing going on, or people aren't feeling better. We're managing care, but sometimes we're constantly managing other things in addition to surgeries and med management. So the education piece, the Latin word from doctor to educate, it's kind of like, unfortunately, nobody has time at the bedside. And I blame the goddamn insurance companies. No, I'm kidding. Well, I mean, no, but it's the business piece to it. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it's the basis of our health.
And I don't have that.
Capitalism is based on capitalism. And the truth is, when you said there's no healing because there is really
the profiteering is too strong, my friend.
Yep. It's better to keep you somewhat well, but always sick than it is to heal you. Unfortunately.
You got it. Yeah. I mean, when the whole system will shift and doctors will be, kind of encouraged, in a lot of different ways to, they can go to medical school and learn all this to not then go in and manage, cases the way that they would want to. Unfortunately, it's out of a lot of practices, to go out and just kind of do a little old mom and pop kind of family practice.
So I have another question. This is definitely for our listeners too. We're all very
I love this drink.
Good. We're all very stressed right now, especially with the pandemic. Is there, and because you're so like in the space of balance, is there something we can do just to try to find a little reprieve from the anxiety that we're feeling every day? Do you have
something? I
kind of.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. So you always want to kind of make it attainable for people. I feel like breathing, if I can say anything, part of my yoga training was pranayama, you know what I mean? Cardiovascular disease, cancer, all of those major things. We know that just with deep breathing, We get a relaxation response, and through our whole nervous system, we get a nice little kind of massage, and through our lymphatic system when we just do deep kind of 3-part breathing. Particularly with everybody walking around with masks on, you know what I mean? Take it off when you can, distance when you can, give yourself a little break as long as nobody's around you. Certainly, you know, I mean, that's helpful. And then just doing breath work, working on the lungs, I think is the most important going into fall. We are definitely going to see, as everybody goes back into our workspaces, that have been over disinfected, which we get why, you know.
Yes.
But we are also going to see a large number of upper respiratory issues because of that. Irritants, you know, the masks being on all the time, and then people staying indoors, which we know indoor air quality, not great. You know what I mean? For some of us. That's why, I mean, you know, I feel fortunate I'm by the sea, but, you know, I have friends that are in huge apartment buildings that don't have, you know, access to their common areas. You know what I mean? So breathing, I would say, breath work, it's as simple as a 3-part breath, or there's even like a cooling breath that's like specific for particularly this time of year. And it's where if you can roll your tongue, can you? Genetically, can everybody roll their tongue? Like a taco, taco tongue. So talking about the feet earlier, right, Gina, when you're talking about the foot soaks?
Yeah.
The Chinese love to map everything, the hands, the face, the body, everything, you know. They map the tongue as well. Yep. So the direct line, so when you actually furrow or curl the tongue and you actually use that as a straw to do a nice deep inhalation. So you inhale through that kind of like taco tongue, long, slow, deep. Yeah. And then you exhale at the top and then exhale with a closed mouth out through your nose. Exhale, relax your belly. But if you keep inhaling, but if you inhale through that, almost like a straw, so it makes you stop to relax, but it's very cooling on the nervous system. It actually runs down, you know, what they consider kind of like the triple warmer, that, and then, you know, there's all little spots on the tongue, but like you furrow over. Cool. But they call it a cooling breath. Satali breathing is the Sanskrit word, but it's a cooling breath. There's ways to kind of do that, but particularly if you just sit with it for a few rhythms and you just kind of, you know, relax the belly as you breathe it in like a big balloon, and then as you exhale, bringing your belly button back towards your spine, but closing the mouth, exhaling out through the nose, and just trying to keep that inhalation and exhalation at the same exact rate. So a lot of times with breathing or with meditation, it's like, your thoughts are going by. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't do this, I'm super irritated. So sometimes if you just count and 10 count inhalation, 10 count exhalation. And that sometimes just keeps, or just sometimes I say in the whole time, out, you know, just something to keep you in the moment. Even if you do it for a minute or two, do it in your car, Gina, when you're going to flip off someone. I was going to say though, but that's a very cooling breath. Remember at the beginning, we talked about the physical thing of like heat and fire in the body, right? So, you know, we can have that outwardly red, but then we also had that emotional. So sometimes when we want to speak things that, you know, are maybe curt and kind of snappy and hot, that breath, sometimes if you get into that breathing, I've done that where I didn't have the conversation that I thought I was going to have with somebody because I relaxed before. Well, but that's supposed to be like, you know, if you have something quick on the tip of your tongue, it makes you, it's cooling.
Well, it's kind of hard to be like a bitch when you're like this.
Oh yeah. Look at my, and then there is a modification like everything in yoga. If you can't curl your tongue, and hit me up at holistic@gmail.com. You're like, that lady's healing.
I like to do that in there. Don't worry, we'll have that on the website. We'll have that on our website. We'll have it in our episode notes so that way everyone can get there. It'll be very easy.
Wonderful.
Gina, it's you.
So Megan, we have one more question for you. And in this day and age where people identify themselves with a spirited animal, and you might identify yourself with a billy goat named Winky. Some people would want to know, or I would like to know from you, if you can identify yourself with one ingredient, what would it be and why?
Ingredient like
for like food? Cooking, healing, drinking, whatever. An ingredient.
Ginger, a little bit of spice. At the end, I'll come through for you. I'm accessible.
Well, I love that.
A little bit of everything. Ginger. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Nice.
And on that
It's
note,
inflammatory. I'm a healer. I'm just mellow though. I'm not too hot. I ain't no cayenne. I'm ginger.
love it. I love
Awesome.
it, Louise, it's time though, isn't it? I feel like it's time.
It is time, unfortunately. This is another one of those episodes that could go on for days. Cheers, ladies.
Megan.
Cheers. I love you and I love my 2 new friends. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Missing Link is a proud partner of Hearing Charities of America, a nonprofit organization that supports those who are deaf or hard of hearing. To learn more about HCOA or to find out about Missing Link's other podcasts, head over to missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.